Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another intriguing young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Halfa day. My name is Whitney Duenas Richardson, and I am based out of beautiful and hot currently Tampa, Florida. I'm honored to share this platform with so many amazing women and also share my story of how I've gotten to where I am in 2025. I am the middle child of a beautiful family from the island of Guam. I was raised there. I come from a background of Chamorro and Dutch roots, which I hold very, very strongly to who I am as a woman and has shaped me and formed me into being a well-versed traveler, understanding other cultures around the world, and truly figuring out where is my place and how can I celebrate others. I would say my childhood growing up on the island of Guam was beautiful. It was exciting. I had a very minimal life. I spent my afternoons after school paddling, which is like a form of rowing, and at the beach and surfing and hanging out with all of my friends. We rode in the back of pickup trucks down the street. We'd always walk down the hill after high school and hang out with our other friends from other schools. I was very blessed to have a, a wonderful beach life upbringing. I am a mom of a 2-year-old, and my 14-year-old sister, Juliana, lives with us. And a fur baby, his name is Mako. He's a silver lab. We were able to rescue him shortly after our yellow lab had passed away about 6 months before I had my daughter. So watching them grow up together has been a very, very special moment for me. My husband is phenomenal. He is great. We travel the world together and see other people and other cultures and celebrate them. All in all, so far, I've been to 46 countries, and I truly believe that has made me and shaped me into the woman I am today, along with a pivotal moment in 2016 when I was in a life-threatening car crash. I was driving to the University of Oklahoma. I hit 50 feet of guardrail, hit an overpass. At some point between that moment and moving into the ambulance, it had like an hour time frame. The closest hospital was a tiny hospital in Jasper, Alabama. I'd regained consciousness and asked the EMT in the back to get help me find another hospital to go to. I That wish was not granted, so I ended up going to the small hospital anyways. They had cleared me. I don't remember any of this. I was in a coma. I guess I had come in and out of it for a little bit. I remember waking up. It was a few days after my 18th birthday, and it was a male police officer standing above my hospital bed saying, "Hey, we're going to go to a hotel until your parents get here to help you, get you back home." And I was like, I need a second opinion. I advocated for myself, which I think is so important for women, especially, and in the medical field to make sure that you are heard and seen. I was granted that opportunity. They transferred me to the University of Alabama, Birmingham. And um, as as soon as I got there, they had called my parents and they were like, she's dying from internal bleeding unless we operate on her right now. Oh, it's always tough to get that part out. And so they operated on me. I have a 12-inch scar from my rib cage down to my pelvic area. They removed 5 feet of bowels, my spleen, a whole bunch of other things, and then sutured me back up and put me back together. And that moment in 2016, a week and a half after the car accident, when I could walk again, I'll never forget trying to walk around the ICU, and they were like, Whitney, you have to walk around the whole floor. And I was like, I don't think I can. I was like, Dad, can you just lie for me and tell them that I did? Eventually, we got there. We walked around the entire floor, and I knew that I was destined to do something different and to change the world. And this is where I am leaving my marks on the world and making a change and creating my story. So I'm happy to be here and share it with everyone. And yeah.
Wow, what an incredible story. When you listen to people who've gone through these life and death experiences, it really helps you appreciate life, realize how fragile life really is and how fleeting it is, that you can be here in 1 minute, the next minute you can be gone. Now, you have gone on to do some incredible things. Tell us the origin story of Global Sprouts. How did it all begin?
I love this story. This is one of my prized possessions. I started my business and entrepreneurial journey back in 2019, a year after college. I opened up a
Mm.
fitness studio in Virginia, and that was great. I learned what being an entrepreneur was. I was 1 year post college. I was fresh and new into it. And eventually, obviously, COVID with a fitness studio doesn't really work out very well. We were able to sell off our equipment and make a good amount of profit. So I learned from that experience as well. And we moved down to Florida. So we're in Florida, we're having fun. It's all a great lifestyle. We moved to the Tampa area, and Clearwater reminded me of home. It was crystal clear and 72 degrees on January 1st. So it reminded me of Guam without having to travel 24 hours to get there. And then Hurricane Helene hit us last year and we lost our home. So in that process, you're grieving, you've lost. I will say this, I'm so glad for technology nowadays because my daughter Slater will never have to worry about being flooded and losing her baby pictures like we did. She will
Mm.
always have them. So for that instance, technology is beautiful and wonderful. And I find myself continuously thinking, okay, what can I do to propel myself from being at such a low point in my life, losing my home, losing
Mhm.
my baby pictures, losing all of that? And what can I do to propel myself forward? And I hold something very strong to my heart, like I mentioned earlier, is understanding other cultures and where people come from to understand their background.
Mm.
So when I had my daughter, and lost my home last year, and she'll be 2 next month. I decided, how can I teach her the other cultures? I was in Guam, so I was well traveled all over Asia by the time I had left. And I
Okay.
lived in Europe for a little bit, well traveled all over Europe. And it really was, how can I introduce these cultures in our day-to-day life? So I started
Right.
boxing up activities, toys, crafts, recipes into little learning kits for her, and I started to
Oh,
look around, and it's not accessible to a lot of Americans. So we
no.
started Global Sprouts, a monthly subscription box that provides the opportunity for other children, currently only in America, but we hope to expand internationally, hopefully soon, to learn about those other cultures. It's up to our generation to change the next generation to be more empathetic and more curious about others. And the best way to do that is starting at 2 and really letting them hear the languages and taste the food that's coming from these countries.
Mm.
And so,
Wow.
yeah.
That's just incredible that You hit on this idea that is so unique, but why global sprouts? Where did the name come from?
I wanted it to be like a little sprout of knowledge for each child
Oh,
that comes into contact with our boxes.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. And then you can continue traveling and seeing different places and exploring and adding that knowledge to their little boxes that go out to all of these amazing kids.
It's fun, and we partner, so I did a very well job even from when I was 5 or 6 years old of making friends in those cultures, and I've stayed in touch with them, which is the most beautiful part. So I tapped into the people I know from Indonesia
Wow.
that I met when I was growing up. I tapped into the Filipinos that I knew to help me curate these boxes so that we're creating the most authentic experience possible for our children.
Oh, I love it. Now, you've been through major personal loss and trauma, the loss of your health, now the loss of your home. How did that shape your mission?
Oh, it shaped it in numerous ways. It shaped it from being strong. How do I find strength in this opportunity? How do I come together with my community to provide something that not only supports me but also brings other people together? I found after both instances, the car crash, the flooding of Hurricane Helene, to really allow me to rely on my community and utilizing these opportunities to really understand how human connection works. And that ultimately is through love and compassion and empathy. And so, really curating that in each and everything that I do, I think shines through whatever I put my little fingers on.
And I love the way you say opportunity. Some people would look at all of these catastrophic events as something negative, but you have seen an opportunity whenever life twists and changes. You're like, okay, what's the opportunity here? That's a very unique way of living life, and I'm really glad you're sharing that with us today. Now, how did becoming a mother influence your approach to business and healing?
Oh, being a mom is one of the funnest things. That's not a word, but it is a fun, unique experience, that's for sure. I really believe that we are their biggest role model and they look up to us in so many different ways. And so, as I'm going through these different life phases, I want to be that role model for my daughter Slater to understand women are strong, we're beautiful, we're bold, we can do hard things, and we can make a difference. And the best way to do that is to influence the next generation. So when mommy gets hurt and gets knocked down, she sees mommy bounce back up, take some time to herself. We do a lot of deep breathing and exercises and using meditation to work through things so that we can heal that inner trauma. I never want to mask it or sweep it under the rug. I want to heal it first and then use that as the momentum to excel me forward. And how can I make a bigger change in the world?
And your little daughter is seeing you in action, living and breathing what you teach, which is really good because they model themselves off us, right? Little girls look to their mothers to see what they've done, what are they doing. So you're focusing on your own self-care is really a lesson to your daughter to understand how to live as a woman going forward. And that's a really beautiful thing to see. Now, you describe healing as non-linear. Can you share what that looked like in your life?
Healing is a tough battle. Um,
Mhm,
Healing from a traumatic accident is even tougher, I would say, than losing my home because that's more physical versus traumatic is
mhm.
directly to your body.
Yeah.
And one day you're fine, the next day, over time, as your brain heals scientifically, you can recall a little bit more of the accident and slowly you can chip away. And it's been almost 10 years. We're sitting on 9 years right now. And actually, ironically, last night I was laying, or maybe the night before, I was laying in bed and I was like trying to remember. Like at one point, I was in the ambulance and I didn't give the correct social security number. I was trying
Mm,
to recall, can I remember that moment so that I can work through that traumatic experience? And so, utilizing that, we're sitting on 9 years and I'm still thinking about this incident. I'm reminded
mm,
every morning when I put on my clothes that I was that close to dying. So, you have the little reminders and you're still constantly working through it. It's
yeah.
never going to be, okay, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed. It's, okay, I feel really good about this instance. Whoop, I feel bad. Or like, am I meant to be here for something else? And you have to kind of talk yourself out of those intrusive thoughts and remind
Mm,
yourself, look at all the great that you've done. This path isn't linear. Nothing in life is linear. Being a mom isn't linear. Things change, things come, things go. And how can I use that of the linearity, whatever the plural word of that would be, um, and then just appreciate it and
yeah.
know that it comes with downs, it comes with ups. It's working through and changing that mental and that self-talk to, "This is a beautiful moment, we're working through it, and we'll get out on the other side stronger and better than we were before."
Yeah, and being aware of that mental self-talk is so crucial for women. They say that we say things to ourselves that we would never say to our best friend. We're very, very hard on ourselves. So being able to catch yourself in those moments when you're being self-critical, I think is imperative for every woman to learn that skill. So, what challenges have you faced as a woman rebuilding a business from scratch? COVID-19 obviously wiped out your other business and you had to pivot, you had to start all over again. Tell us about that journey.
Oh, I'm a cliff jumper. I love to jump off a cliff and figure out how to scale my way back up. I thrive in those moments. I love starting from scratch. I think it can be beautiful. I also love starting from halfway done projects. So, being a woman in that space that is a cliff jumper is very challenging. You're met
Yeah.
with so many different types of people that say, Whitney, this isn't gonna work. Why do you think people wanna learn about other cultures? Why is your price
Mm,
expensive? Why this? Why that? And it is tough breaking through into a market where we have those challenges, right? And how can we become strong women? My number one tip when I started a business and I was talking to anyone in the field is, in order for me to get from A to point B to point C to continue on down the long along the line, I have to be firm. I don't use any of the filler words. I ask for what I want. If I get a no, okay, well, you missed your opportunity. I go to the next person. A lot of times, if you go to their competitor and their competitor says yes, then the first person you ask gets a little bit jealous and they're like,
yes.
"Oh, why didn't I say yes?" So, just being strong and being bold and knowing what you want before you walk into the room, I think has been so impactful for me from building a business from ground up. And being
Wow.
kind and nice, even when people doubt you, I use that as fuel to keep going because if I'm not doing it, someone else is going to do it.
Oh.
So, why can't we continue on this path and just forge forward and believe in what you have and who you are? And that makes a huge difference.
Now, I love what you said that you love jumping off a cliff. I've always said I have jumped off Clifton. I've learned to grow my wings on the way down, right? So you take that leap of faith and you know you're going to figure it out as you're cruising down. And that's a very, very interesting way to live. Now, your videos have gone viral on TikTok. What do you think resonates most with viewers?
Understanding that moms on the other side are experiencing the same thing. I think I take a very different approach to motherhood sometimes, and
Mm,
my videos that have gone viral have been not the status quo. They're talking about, for example, I chose for myself that I did not want to breastfeed. I did not want to have
Mhm.
that journey, and that was my decision. And there were
Yes.
no resources out there. So if you're a
Wow.
mom, you know on day 2 when your milk comes in, those bad boys are not very comfortable. And so I was going through different trials and what is going to work, what will alleviate the pain, and I recorded it all and I posted it so that moms that are on their own journey and decide to not choose the journey that everyone is saying to choose, that they had a resource to
Mhm.
come back to that we don't exactly have accessibility into. Um, and those are my most viral moments. That it's just being off this, like being off, taking the path less traveled. I think has
Yes.
been one of my favorite sayings since I think we learned about it in 6th grade or 5th grade.
Oh, wow.
And
That
so
is
being able to,
fascinating.
yeah,
I love it. So, what advice would you have for women who feel stuck after a major life disruption?
after a major life disruption, I would give yourself some breathing space, breathe through it, allow yourself to understand your feelings and your emotions and where those are truly coming from. And
Mm,
then sit down. I like to journal. I love to write down. One of my favorites is it's a 5-year journal, and I have 5 spaces
yeah.
on every page for every day of the year. It allows me
Okay.
also the opportunity to reflect back on that moment. So I didn't use it after my car crash, but I used it 4 years ago. I'm coming on my 5th year soon. And so
Okay.
I can look back every day of the year. So May 21st in 2020 or 2021 is when I started it. I can see how I felt exactly and what big life
Yeah.
changes I was going through and those emotions. So I'll write a sentence or two based on the day. Being on
Right.
her story will be my entry for today, and then I will put my emotions. I was
Yeah.
happy, I was excited, I felt fulfilled, and then being able to reflect on that, I think, is a huge part of our journey of these major moments in our life. How did we feel in that
Mhm.
moment? How can we think back to it on a beautiful scale? Or if it was a bad experience, how can
Yeah.
we look back on it and say, okay, well, next time, let me do something differently so that I don't feel that emotion. I want to feel happy in this instance. So being
Yeah.
able to reflect, I think, is huge.
I love that. Yeah, sometimes we forget how far we've come, right? Just taking
Exactly.
stock, just taking stock. Sometimes when I'm going through a really major challenges and I'm like, I will never get out of this, I stop and think, okay, I left Africa with $500. I had a 2-year-old baby on my back. I had a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and I moved to the other side of the world. If I could have done that then, I can do it again now, right? So taking stock of how far you've come, that's something that a lot of women actually forget to do. Now, what role has creativity played in your personal journey and professional recovery?
Ooh, I love being creative. That's like one of my funnest things. Um, I like to say that I'm both right-sided and left-sided of my brain as I'm very creative, but I also make decisions based on data. So
Right.
being able to have that creativity part, making our box design was so much fun to me. I got to create different
Mhm.
symbols from other cultures and bring that all together of my favorite items growing up from these different places. And
Right.
there's a little touch of Whitney and Global Sprouts in every little thing that we do. So seeing that on the other end, once you have the finalized creative product, is like mind blowing. You're
That's
like,
gotta be
oh my gosh,
something.
there's little sprinkles everywhere. And then
Mm,
just finding creative ways to dig yourself out of those self-talk ruts, I think, is so important. So how can I've learned that for myself when I'm in those self-talk moments and I need to propel myself professionally or personally, I have to get outside and I take 3 deep breaths of air and I sit there and I let the sun, hopefully it's sunny that day, I let the sun beat on my skin a little bit, and then I love cold plunge. I like to put myself into very uncomfortable situations to change my mindset. Um, so
Oh,
getting very hot, getting very cold, and just finding new ways. Do I start skipping down the sidewalk to stimulate my nervous system? Do I
mm.
chug ice cold water? I just try crazy, random, super creative things to see what lands and what works. And obviously doing it a few times because then you're like, okay, this is working. Um,
Yeah.
and different stimulants. I think that that's very important to figure out what makes me happy and creative and being
Yes.
able to utilize that moving forward.
Oh, I love it. So, what's next for Global Sprouts? When I started doing my research about you, I went onto your website. I noticed that you have three countries at the moment: Spain, Guam, and Australia. I was quite impressed to see Australia on the cards. What's next for you? Are you going to expand those countries? What's the big vision behind the brand?
The big vision behind the brand, I don't want to give up too much, but we will
Mhm.
have 11 countries. And it's
Okay.
very important for me to showcase cultures that don't necessarily get main publicity. So
Right.
every other month, so for the month of May, showcase Spain. For June, we'll be doing Guam. For July, we'll do Australia. In August,
Hmm.
we'll do the Virgin Islands. You don't hear about them that
Right.
often. They're a beautiful Caribbean culture. And then we'll go back to like Mexico, and then we'll sprinkle in Indonesia, and then we'll go to the Philippines. So we have 11 countries. They're all picked out. They are on our website, I believe. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see all
Okay.
11.
All right.
Um,
Good.
but it's fun. We're doing 11, and some are bigger cultures, some are smaller cultures, and
Yeah.
we all need to know about all of them. So one month at a time.
That's absolutely beautiful. I'm actually going to get one of those for my grandson's fourth birthday in July. So when I saw what you're doing, I thought, okay, this girl is onto something. And my little grandson loves languages. He loves to learn new things. And I can see these boxes have just got almost everything. So what can people expect from one of your boxes? What do you put in there?
So in each box, we partner with a local citizen from that country, and we
Hmm.
find toys that the kids authentically will play with. We
Right.
offer a recipe. We try to do easy household ingredients for the recipes. Sometimes that's
Yes.
not necessarily possible, but we do give a recipe. You'll get a 20 to 24 page educational booklet that includes flashcards, tracing activities, language, um, items that you'll find in that country, like matching so that kids are able to learn while they're experiencing the box. You'll
Okay.
receive a board book on a story about Globy, which is our mascot, traveling through that country and
Okay.
experiencing a day in the life of a child from that culture. And you'll also receive two crafts. So curated these little craft kits, and you'll get
Hmm.
to experience making crafts like the kids in that culture do. So, five main things. Typically, you'll get about uh, 8 to 9 items in a box.
Okay. That is just awesome. So, in all of this, how are you balancing parenting with running a purpose driven brand?
Hmm. Well, Slater is my model for all of my pictures. And she is also, I have a good group, a solid group of mom friends with children that help me experiment that the crafts are age appropriate, the books are
Yeah.
well received. I lean on my community very, very much. I think it's so important to have a community that believes in what you're doing, but also believes in you as a person. So having them back me up has been beautiful. And just my family in general. They're all so supportive and willing to help out as we need it. So
Hmm.
ultimately, my community. I really love having a strong community around me.
Yeah. And the subscription model that you have, what do people get every month for the subscription?
So for the subscription, they receive a new country every month.
Oh, nice. That's
So
very
if
nice.
you,
Oh, I absolutely love it.
yes, it's beautiful. I love it.
Wow. You're giving back. Tell me, why is it important for entrepreneurs to give back? I noticed that you sponsor a child. How did that come to being, and why is it so important to you?
So we sponsor a child for the simple fact that, ironically, my idea started as, how do I teach kids that can't travel to these cultures? I
Hmm.
quickly found out that you cannot be a for-profit company donating all of your subscription boxes back to the community.
No.
So we switched, and now we allow parents, grandparents, whoever wants to donate materials back to 3 or 4 providers that we've partnered with in the state of Florida locally, but we're looking to expand that nationwide soon. And being able to teach those kids that don't necessarily have the expendable income to purchase a subscription box or to experience traveling to another culture, it's just as important for them to understand about others. So we're doing our part and donating boxes back.
I absolutely love it. Now, I'm going to share your website and ask you the last two questions. If I could teleport you back to the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey and talk to that young woman who decided she wanted to work for herself, work with her baby to create this amazing brand, you took a lot of risk, it takes a lot of guts to do it. If you could go back and give yourself three nuggets of wisdom based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those three nuggets of wisdom be? Just in case there's another young mom who's listening to this podcast, has an idea, doesn't know where to start, three nuggets of wisdom.
Jump off the cliff. You can do it. You will scale back up. You'll find out a new way to do it. Maybe that hasn't been done before, but there is a way that you can do it. That would be my first one. My second one would be, you are made to do this. There's nothing in the world that you can't do. And this journey is exactly where you should be. And my third one would be, there's always beauty on the other side of those ruts and moments of weakness. You can also get through this part. It's one of the tougher parts. Find a good community of like minded entrepreneurial women that you can surround yourself with so that you can really soak in all of these moments. So when you come out on the other end, you can look back and cherish those setbacks, if you want to call it that.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, having a community around you is everything. You need that support from like minded people instead of trying to work on your own. Having a community of supportive people around you, I think, is crucial in life. Last question. I'm going to teleport you into the future this time. And we are going to go and meet the 90-year-old you. And I'm sure by this time she has gone to 100 countries. She's been all over the globe. Her business is everywhere. If I could teleport you into the future to meet the 90-year-old you, what will you say to her when you finally meet her? Now, I like asking women this question because a lot of women don't realize that the wise woman is already in them, that she's that quiet voice that says, go left, go right, say yes, say no, do it, just try it, jump off that cliff. What will you say to your wise woman when you finally meet her at the age of 90?
When I meet my future self at the age of 90, I'd look her directly in the eye and say, you did it. You have over 200 million subscribers. All the kids around the globe are learning about other cultures and truly understanding how to be curious about others. We're no longer a generation of selfish, unfulfilling people. We are now accepting of everyone. We understand where people are coming from. We understand their background. We take their day to day lives into consideration, and we cherish one another. We love different cuisines. We love different languages. And you are the stepping stone moving forward in that movement. And I hope that you will always carry that with you.
Global understanding is the underlying message that I've got from you today. So necessary to learn about other cultures, because when we find out who we are, we understand where the other is coming from, we can create a much better world. Thank you for your work. I'm looking forward to meeting that 90-year-old woman. I'll be probably 125 because you're so much younger than me. And absolutely love women who are game changers, who are leaving this planet a better place than we found it. Thank you so much for your work, Whitney.
Thank you for today. I loved it.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Whitney, don't go away. See you tomorrow, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.